Hari Om. Good evening. A very warm welcome to all of you. Please come, join me. Let's pray together. Sato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amrutam gamaya sahana vavatu sahano bhunaktu sahaviryam karavavahai tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. O Lord, the Almighty, who also has the divine names as Pratishtitaha, Skandaha, to such a magnificent Lord, together with utmost devotion, faith, surrender, we offer our humble salutations to seek your grace, your mercy, your love, your compassion, your strength, your forgiveness. O Lord, bless us with the divine qualities such as Shraddha, Bhakti, Jnana, Vairagya, Mumukshutva, Prapatti, only and only to understand thy true nature. Let thy true nature be a first-hand experience which I can have, aparoksha anubhuti. I am yearning to have that experience. I beseech in you, O Lord, to grant me that rare divine privilege. And I once again pray that at the end of our lives, we reach thy holy abode. Om Tat Sat. By the grace of God and the blessings of the Guru Parampara, today we are on our Divine Discourse number 330 on the 2nd of May 2023, Shobhanakrit Nama Samvatsara Uttarayana Vasanta Rutu Vaishaka Masa Shukla Paksha Dwadashi Uttara Falguni Nakshatra Vyagata Yoge Balavakarane. On this auspicious day of Tuesday, and the auspicious time of the evening, we all take a firm resolve. Na ham karta hari preranaya hari prityartham. O Lord, you are the doer. You are the experiencer. You are the enjoyer. Whatever is coming to me in my life, due to ignorance, so far I had understood that it is something painful which is coming in my life. Now I fully understand that it is thy act, thy play, to uplift this life from the ocean of samsara, births and deaths. So I accept each and every incident, happening, occasion, circumstance, situation, all that is nothing but sent by you. I will live by each and every situation with the feeling of prasada buddhi and have that sensation in me that I'm moving closer and closer to you without paying much heed to what that situation is. I once again pledge that I will be a pure witness in my daily life, looking at the incidents, whatever is coming and going. Our humble salutations to the entire Guru Parampara. Om Tat Sat. Good evening, everybody. Once again, a warm welcome to all of you. So now today I raise a red flag again. We are moving into another segment which is more apt for us. Like as I told you, my only and only intention is a straight journey towards realization, towards moksha, liberation, nirvana. No deviations and no pastime plays here and there. So our focus is always that, and apparently and incidentally, coincidentally, now Lord Krishna himself is teaching that. So we pay a lot of attention, and I'm going to go slow. I may be repeating many things again and again. That is only to see that whatever is told, it is strongly embedded in our mind. That's the only purpose. Okay, come now. Let's begin our journey. So, I'll just give a recap. Where were we? We have finished the 24th verse, and to understand the 24th verse, we took the help of the Prakarana Grantha Drigdrishya Viveka, where we were able to differentiate between the subject and the object. The one and only subject in the entire universe is that Paramatma, expressed as the Purusha or the Atma in the Jiva. Now, how did this happen? Now, you all must be very clear. I am going to use the technical terms. With the Anyonya Adhyasa, meaning the mixture of the reflected consciousness, Chidabhasa. Now, what is reflecting and where is it reflecting? It is reflecting in our minds. What is that which is reflecting? That Chaitanya Shakti which is enveloped the entire universe and which is the cause of the entire universe. Now that Chaitanya Shakti, when it reflects on any mind, so now in our case our mind, it becomes the reflected consciousness. And as Ahankara is a part of the mind, Ahankara mixes up with this Chidabhasa and it becomes that Chetana Shakti. That awareness comes in itself, and now this Aham goes on telling everywhere that I am the doer, I am the giver, I am the experiencer, Bhokta, Karta, it goes on telling this. And that is that is the beginning of the Jiva. Now how to snap this Jivatva? Where it has begun, you have to stop, we have to snap it there itself. So how did it begin? The merging or the unholy union of the Ahankara, which is a part of the mind, and the reflected consciousness. There you have to just snap that Ahankara out. That's all. Just cut it off. What have you got to do over here? You have got no role to play at all. You have unnecessarily, you are posing yourself that you are everything over here. We understood in that 3-step process. One is where, what is the what is the relationship between the Ahankara and the reflected consciousness? It is like a mirror. So whenever there is a mirror, there is a reflection which is very natural. So it is a natural relationship. So till the mind is there, the reflection is going to be there. So you can't do anything about it. Accept it. It's a natural relationship. Know that fact, which is not the truth. One. That is the first one. Second one is karmajam. First one sahajam. Second one is karmajam. What is karmajam? The body is born out of your past karma. So that prarabdha karma has given you this body. That is the reason different people have different bodies and minds, intellect levels, and that adrushta factor which comes to them. Adrushta is that unseen luck and ill luck which keeps coming to them. You are very closely associated, your spouse, your children, your brothers, sisters, relatives, friends, and here and there people who bring a lot of joy into your life and people who also bring a lot of sorrow into your life. This is all coming out of karma. So till the body is there, this association of Ahankara is going to be with this body. The moment the body dies, now this Ahankara snaps from the body. See how it cleverly it snaps and it waits for the next body to come. No moment the next body comes, this Ahankara again joins in that particular body and it says, now I am that body. So this is karmajam. Till the karma is there, this Ahankara is going to be there. And finally then when the question was asked, what is the relationship of this Ahankara with consciousness, that Chetana Shakti? Bhranti Janyam. There is no relationship. You think for yourself, what is the relationship? There is no relationship. So which means, now without any relationship, taking the advantage of the reflected consciousness, associating unholy association with the reflected consciousness, this jivatva has come in place. Now to that selected few, the Lord is now giving this knowledge. See, I tell you, look for yourself. It is He who has given us the interest to dwell, to listen, to focus, to dedicate our lives for this. Ask somebody else to sit for 10 minutes and listen to this knowledge what Lord Krishna is giving. They'll in fact pull you out. They'll try to pull you out. He said, what is this dry thing you're listening? Who has seen all this? Why are you getting into all this? They'll rather keep telling you all this. But we, as our minds now, which are in a situation where we want to listen again and again, again and again. Now this is nothing but that divine support and divine grace what we have got. Don't attribute to anything else. Nobody has got the stamina to listen for 10 minutes or 20 minutes. And here we are there for 1.5 hours. And apart from that, there are so many advanced sadhaks who are listening to several times because they want to get the gist of each and every aspect in this. So which means here Lord has selected us. When He has selected us, it is His responsibility to take us to the next level. So with that faith and with that confidence, now we continue our studies over here. Okay, now he's further going to say, now let's start from the 18th verse, what all he told us. 18th verse, the concept was karmanya karma yah pashet, who sees inaction, meaning no action in the midst of all activity, meaning you're doing so many things, but you say I'm not doing anything, inaction. I'm not doing anything. Then who is that who is doing? There you have that aham bhava has gone. You are completely saying that this is all happening. Just like I sleep and I dream. I don't think to dream. It happens naturally. In the same way, in a waking state also, everything is happening by that Creator Himself. And then in verse 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, what he tells us is how you can move towards state of Jivan Mukta, the free while living. Although you are an householder, you are in a household life, but when you have this concept of what he has told from 18 to 23, you are no less than a sannyasi. You have completely detached from mundane concerns. Now I'll just give you a brief of what he tells in verse 19 to 22, 23. Now why I'm saying that is, what I feel now henceforth what Lord Krishna is going to give us, I would suggest, I personally think that there he is giving us the method. Now from 19 to 23 he is giving the concept. He is telling what to do. But from 25 onwards, which we are studying today, he is telling us how to do. This is what I can grasp. Okay, now 19. There he says, Kama Sankalpa Varchitaha, meaning even the wise call him a sage, whose undertakings are all free from desire and thoughts of the world. Kama Sankalpa Varchitaha. And whose actions, while doing so, whose actions are burnt by the fire of wisdom. Then verse 20 he says, Nitya Trupto Nirashayaha. He who has totally given up attachment to the actions and their fruit. He no longer depends on the world. He is ever content. Can you imagine what a state this can be? You know, you're free flowing. Just keep doing as you're breathing. Are you putting any effort to breathe? Are you putting any effort for your heart to pump? Are you putting any effort for the internal cleansing which is happening? In the same way, just allow whatever thoughts are coming in your mind. Freely accept those thoughts. Keep observing the doer. Who is the doer now? The Lord in you. That Atma in you is the doer. It is doing whatever needs to be done. And in fulfillment. It's completely fulfilled. Now in the verse 21 he says, Tyakta sarva parigraha. He has subdued his mind and body. and given up all objects of enjoyment, meaning he is not after sensory pleasures, and he is free from craving. He who performs such bodily action in this state of mind does not incur sin. Now you are getting a grasp of all this, what he has said in these verses. Now 22. Dvandvatito vimatsaraha. He says this karma yogi who is contented with whatever he got, he is free from jealousy. He adds one more thing. This is your quality also. You might get, you may not get, but if somebody has got, you are not at all jealous. Why? Because you know how the universe functions. You know that there is some force in this world which gives different results to different people. So there is no reason for you to become jealous, or there is no reason for you to become discontented. You got this? What is all troubling to you? If you keep and make a list of all that, you get the answers for all that which is troubling you in your daily life. Anger is troubling you, desire is troubling you, somebody else getting something is troubling you, your near and dear ones not getting something is troubling you, including yourself. And even having got, you want something more. So this way you dvandvatito vimatsaraha. He has transcended, crossed over all pairs of joy and sorrow, and balanced in success and failure. Now the last 23rd verse, he says, Yagnaya charata karma samagram praviliyate. All his actions get dissolved entirely. Who is free from attachment. He has got no identification and no sense of me, mine. Be it from the level of the body or from the mind, whose mind is established in the knowledge of self, and who works merely for the sake of sacrifice. It stops here, sacrifice, yagna. Now what is the last sentence he said? A person whose body and mind is established in the knowledge of self. Anything I do, anything I aspire, anything I achieve is all only and only in the spirit of a sacrifice. You got this? Now this is all fine, I understood. But how can I do? That is what he takes up in from verse 24 onwards, meaning 24 we have already learnt. Now that is the first sacrifice, which is the highest of the 12 yagnas. Okay, he totally talks of we all are in a position to do 12 mahayagnas without calling a purohit, without getting a brick or sand or lighting fire, without reciting mantras. On a daily basis, on a minute to minute basis, we can do either one or more of the 12 yagnas. Now that is what we are going to learn here. And now when he tells you all about the yagnas, if you can remember this verse from 18 to 23, you will say exactly he has given us the method of doing those. What he spoke about, verse 18 to 23. And what are these verses 18 to 23? They are nothing but the state of becoming a Jivan Mukta. Jivan Mukta means you are free while living. Nothing is binding you. That's all. That is a state what we all are working towards. So a sannyasi may be completely detached from mundane concerns and activities. We as a householder who have got responsibility in life, who have got so many obligations in life, how I can meet my daily requirement of action against every situation in the most prudent and spiritual manner. So he starts bombarding with the 24th verse, Brahmarpanam Brahmavihi Brahmagno Brahmanautam Brahmaivatena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhinaha. He says everything. First of all, what? He compares it to a Vedic fire ritual. Because in that period of time, in that yuga, which is the Dwapara Yuga, the most prominent form of worship was Yagna, where there was a fire altar and you were offering havis, and through the fire you are offering your prayers to the deity. As dhyana was the most prominent during the first yuga, which is Satya Yuga. But now in Kali Yuga, what is prominent? Puja, where you go to a temple and you do a pradakshina, then you tell the archaka, can you do can you do Mangalarati for me, or can you do Kunkumarchana? These are what, so this is a puja which we do now. This is in vogue, but Dwapar Yuga it was Yagna. So he uses that same Yagna and he says each and everything is Lord and Lord alone. He says this is the highest form of Yagna, and that is what he says, you as an advanced spiritual seeker, you must reach this situation. After having told us the fire rituals, he is now elevating it to spirituality with a whole range of spiritual practices. It is meditation, fasting, and then even about a discipline in eating, all religious practices, which is secular activities, secular worldly activities, how you can spiritualize them. He uses pranayama. Then everything, it could be for the all devotional practices, all ritualistic practices, all moral, ethical practices, and even all social service practices. He talks about making it a yajna. And what do they point at? Eventually they point at you should reach by doing all this. The highest yajna, which we have already learnt in verse 24, Brahmarpana Brahmavi, meaning to see everything in Lord Brahman, to see God everywhere, to realize your identity with the Absolute and live like that Jivan Mukta. That is the final goal. The whole purpose of our life is to achieve that state. So now, before we do anything, we should know where we are going, what we want to achieve, have that properly embedded in our mind. Not with the ahankara, but the Lord Himself has now given me this knowledge. He has given me this thought, and now He Himself is imparting this knowledge. And who is here? It is He Himself. How is He Himself over here? That reflected consciousness. Now I have already kicked out that ahankara. That awareness is nothing but that reflected consciousness. Of what? That Brahman, super consciousness, Chaitanya Shakti, one and only consciousness, which we call as a Brahman, and at the level of each and every individual, we call it as Atman. So we have to, every time we look at this awareness, merge yourself in that super consciousness which has pervaded the entire universe, which is the creator, sustainer, and destroyer of the entire universe at one point. So now in this verse 25, what I'll do is I'll just prepare each one's mind to get a better understanding before we enter the verse 25. Once we have that preparation, then we start learning these yagnas. It will do a lot good for us. So, to a person, in short, who sees God in everything, karma does not stick to such a person. Na karma lipyate nare. This is one of the great sayings of Isha Upanishad. It is the second mantra over there. Now what does it say? Na karpa lipyate nare. See, whatever, every work has got a reaction. You do something, there is a reaction, good or bad. Good work, punya. Punya, you have good things in life. Bad work, papa, and that results in sorrow, misery, and unhappiness in life. Of which life? It could be the next moment, the next hour, next day, next week, next year, next decade, next life, or 100 lives later, or millions of lives later. So now, if you see, the same thing, Yagnartat karmanonyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha. Lord Krishna in the third chapter, 9th verse, he talks about this. He just says, Yagnartat, only for that sake of the Lord. And Lord Krishna's another synonym name is Yagna. So he also called as Yagneshwara. So here means we offer sacrifice. And who is accepting our sacrifice? Lord Krishna. So our each and every action should be to the Lord and Lord alone. Then again in the verse 27 of the 9th chapter he says, Yat karoshi yat jushosi yadashnasi yat tapasyashi kursva tat madarpanam. He says, whatever you do, karma, yat karoshi, whatever you are doing, just do it keeping me in mind. That as though I am doing for you. See, some people, when we are employed, we are doing for the company. When it is your own company, you have a problem. But people who are working for a company also, they think too big of themselves. They don't have that owner, employer, boss in mind. They think they are doing everything. No, here Lord says, keep me in mind and you are doing at my instructions. Let's say you have a big factory. Whatever I am doing in this factory, oh Lord, from the morning till the evening, whatever I am doing here is all by your grace. I am doing everything. Now the moment you think in this manner and you run your factory, you're talking to workers, you're talking to various suppliers, you're talking to your customers, you're talking to your associates, you're talking to several people, whatever business it could be. When you're doing this with that thought, it is nothing but you're running, let's say, an ashram or a temple. Because you have in mind that whatever I get out of this business, oh Lord, it is nothing but I am a trustee. You have asked me to keep that money. Whatever thought you give me, I'll spend it for that. So every energy, every rupee, everything you get, you say, oh Lord, this is yours. Once, this was long back, when we bought any new clothes or anything new for our own self, okay, I remember my mother-in-law used to tell me, keep it in front of the Lord and then wear it. And it was such a nice feeling, I tell you. She just said this, don't just wear it, you bought from the shop, keep it in front of the Lord's photo and then pray, thank, and then wear it. I tell you, it is such a good feeling. It gives that feeling that whatever I am getting in life, see, we all do when we are having food, but we don't do when we buy things for us. So this is that attitude of connecting with the Lord. So any field of activity we are in, you should dedicate it to the Lord. Because this sad part is, when you are constantly in this world working intentionally or unintentionally, we are committing several sinful activities. As a householder, we get up in the morning, we go into the kitchen, we sweep the floor, we light the stove, and we boil the water, we boil the milk. Now while we sweep, we are killing so many minute insects and bacteria which are not visible. What best we can see is those small ants, but there are so many unseen bacteria. Millions and millions of them we are killing, which is there outside in the air, which is there in water, which is there in milk, which is there in every food we eat. Now this is you get entangled with this papa. So when you are drinking water, when you are eating food, exhaling, inhaling, walking, when you light fire, when you are killing so many animals, can you imagine the amount of papa? Even if you are the most saintly person, you accumulate. But now, when you get up in the morning and you say, "Oh Lord, you are the one who has woken up this body and mind, and I completely surrender unto you," you give the thought, you give the energy, and let this body and mind do what it wants to do. With this thought, just keep going. Now nothing. So whether there is intentionally or unintentionally, you are completely protected. See, let's say we did not know this. Many people, we did not know till some point of time. Ignorance is never excused. Say you have to go on the left side of the road, and for some reason you suddenly go on to the right side, and bang on, you commit an accident there, and the person on the opposite side, he dies. He was on a bicycle and maybe you are in a car. Now the law is so strict, it says then it does not permit you, does not absolve you. It says you are going to be punished. It says, "Oh Lord, for just a few seconds I went on to the right." No, that's no excuse. So Daivi Yesha Gunamahi Mama Maya Duratyaya. In verse 14 of chapter 7, the Lord says this. You can probably avoid a camera over there or the vigilance of police, but the vigilance of God is there undeterred. The day is the witness. If it is in the night itself is a witness. The air you breathe is a witness. The sun is a witness. The moon is a witness. It will not allow any activity of yours to be separated from you. You will be punished for that. So the very first thought in the morning which has to come is, offer yourself to the Lord. Because you are in that conscious state, you just offer yourself and say, "Oh Lord, you are the doer of everything." So na karma lipyate nare. So whatever karma we have done, that does not come back to you. So action is not the cause of our bondage. The attachment is the cause of our bondage. What does it mean? When you have that attachment that I am the doer, I am the giver, I am the receiver, I am the beneficiary, I am the enjoyer. So that's when that attachment, that causes bondage. Otherwise you do any amount of action. When it is surrendered to the Lord, the simple formula, it does not bind you from any action. So how? Yad yad karma karomi tat tada shambho tava aradhanam. Oh Lord, I am in complete bhav of that puja. As you go into that small puja room, wherever we are, and we offer some flowers, we offer some dhoop, incense sticks, and then we keep a banana as a naivedya and do the mangalarati, and we say, now my puja is over, that's it for the day, it's over, see you tomorrow. No, you don't have to even go to a puja room, you don't have to even go to a temple. God has given us that fine senses, ears, eyes, nose, tongue, skin, legs, all this. Whenever you walk, you consider it as a pradakshina. You don't have to go specially for a temple. You're walking to catch a bus. That walking is a pradakshina. The sight of everything is, oh Lord, as I see you in the temple, I see this creation in front of me as a darshan of yours. Every sound I hear is your divine name. That also becomes your puja. So like this, all perceptions of the body, mind, and through the sense of action, organs of action, are nothing but your worship. Repeat this. Yadyad karomi, yadyad karma karomi tattad shambho tava aradhanam. For this kind of a stature to be established, one should feel the presence of God within and outside. You have to have that feeling. And you have to cultivate this. Now I tell you, science has clearly approved that neural pathways. If you think of something again and again and again and again, your complete brain gets rewired. That is what exactly our Upanishads and Puranas were telling us. But now science is telling, you might have so far had so and so notion about yourself, this world, Jiva, Jagat and Ishvara. But now you change that rewiring. Feel the presence of God within and outside. Now what does astrophysics talk about? It talks of energy, it talks of matter. What Vedanta talks about? Sat and Chit. Chit is that energy, Sat is that matter. And how can you relate now this matter? What we see in this world? Now the astrophysics talks about the 5 elements. We say Panchabhuta. Now how can you relate each and every, now let's say you are doing a puja. The statue which is there, it is made from earth. If it is a stone statue, a bronze statue, it's a gold statue, a silver statue, whatever statue it is, it comes from the earth. And then you offer abhisheka, you offer milk, you offer water, whatever you offer is, that abhisheka is nothing but water. Now earth and water. Now you do the fire arati. Now that is another, you do an yagna or you do an arati, there you are using fire. Then you are sitting and you are doing a bhajan or you are doing a japa, there it is sound. And you also do dhyana, there it is nothing but space. So this is how we should relate. Every place, whatever you are doing is nothing but you are involving the 5 elements in this whole exercise. Now, how does karma not bind you? What we understood here is, because you are doing with a sense of dedication. I am not the doer. See, please remember, whenever we do Sakshatkara Siddhi Yoga Dhyana, we do that Atyantika Drishanuvit Savikalpa Samadhi. Atyantika means internally. Drishanuvit means seeing. Savikalpa means with the thought of some knowledge we are doing this. Now what is the thought of that knowledge? That whatever thought is coming in my mind, I am a mere observer. I don't get entangled with the thought. I just allow it to go. So this is that savikalpa, with thought of some knowledge. So in the same way, here you have that every action I do in this practical world is nothing but I am doing it selflessly. And you know, when you do anything selflessly, there is no blame at all for you. Now first is Kamya Karma. Kamya Karma means where we all do, okay, I work so that I get some salary at the end of the month. I need to take care of my household. Then first, before that is Nishkama Karma. Nishkama Karma is you are not supposed to do it. Nishiddha Karma. You are not supposed to do it. What are those wrong acts? Cheating somebody, blaming somebody, thinking ill of somebody, causing hurt, loss to somebody. These are all Nishiddha Karma. From there you uplift yourself and you say, I am not going to cause any harm to anybody, but rightfully whatever I need to get, I want to get in life. And you do for a fee, a particular amount. You decide prior and you work for that. Now the Lord says, after you have made good enough for yourself, raise yourself from that kamya karma with the desire you are doing for something. Now he says, raise yourself to nishkama karma. Nishkama means I don't want anything. Selflessly you are doing. So now we should be in the plane of kamya, doing for a particular fee, but righteously, and with what bhava? Yad yad karomi tad tad shambho tava aradhanam. With that thought in mind that I am doing this for the Lord. And the money you get, you say, oh Lord, this money I have got by your grace. That money you are spending for yourself and your family, oh Lord, with your grace, as a trustee, I am spending this for the family. Now tell me, what do I do with the balance money I have? This way, everything is at the instruction of the Creator. You are doing that. And now when you move to the nishkama karma, you have got no intention for whatever you are doing. You are just doing it out of complete dedication to the Lord, where there is no expectation of any return. Now here I'll tell you a story where, when you do with no expectation, nishkama, even if you have made a mistake, even if you have not performed that act well, there is nobody who can blame you. So once it so happened that a Swamiji was traveling in a train, and as you know that there are caterers who come in the morning, they serve you breakfast, and then they, based on as soon as you board the train, they take your order. Let's say you boarded the train at 8 in the morning, then they'll come and ask you, breakfast is at 9 o'clock in so and so station, would you like to have breakfast, veg, non-veg, and whatever, tea, coffee, whatever you want, they take the order. So he was traveling in a train, and he got in at about 8 o'clock. 9 o'clock was the breakfast time. Already had placed an order, and at about 9 o'clock, when breakfast was served, this caterer was taking order for lunch. So he said, now lunch is at so and so station, which is at about 1:30, okay, which is generally a major junction or something like that. So he takes order for lunch after breakfast is done. Now this Swamiji places order, and rather most of the people in the bogie, they did place an order because the food was quite tasty and also reasonable. So most of them had placed an order. Now what happened was, at 1:30 when the lunch station came, a person gets into the train, and he started distributing food packets to all the passengers. As he went on distributing one after the other, one passenger, he yells at this person who was distributing this food, and he says, you look to be quite old and experienced. Don't you have this sense that along with the food packet you also need to give water? He very in harsh words, loudly, abusively, he makes this comment on the person who was distributing this food. Now the Swamiji was looking at him, the person who abused and the person who also got this scolding, and he saw that the person did not mind much. He just looked at him and then he got into his activity. He did not pay much heed, rather he did not respond. Now after about 5-10 minutes, then another person enters the same bogie, who was the railway caterer, because he had come in that dress. This person didn't have a dress, but it's not necessarily that everybody should have a dress. Sometimes it does happen that they don't wear. So the person came with the railway caterer came, and he started distributing food packets because almost everybody had ordered. So now the Swamiji asked this caterer, yes, I understand you took the order in the morning and now you have come back to serve lunch to us, but who was that person who distributed these food packets a while ago? The caterer said, I don't know. So in the meantime, the person about whom they were talking, that person who was distributing, he came back. He had gone ahead, completed the entire bogie, he came back. So then the Swamiji asked him, who are you? Are you the caterer? He says, no, I'm not the caterer. Apparently, I had been to Tirupati, I had got a lot of laddu prasad over there. And then I live close by to this station. I told my wife that I'll go and distribute this laddu to the passengers in the train. Well, you don't need to know anybody. Anybody will accept a prasad, especially if it is from Tirupati. So I told her, and then she said, "Wait a minute. Since you're going any which case to distribute laddu prasad, what I'll do is I'll make some pulihora and some curd rice. You can and make packets along with the laddu prasad. You can distribute that also." So I said, "Very good, good idea." And then accordingly she gave me the pulihora and the curd rice packets along with the laddu prasad. I have been distributing. Now this conversation fell on the ears of the person who shouted and abused this noble gentleman, who was doing without any expectation for anything. He does not know anybody, but in that hot sun he carried those packets, entered the bogie, and he was doing this seva. He comes to this person and he, with folded hands, he says, "I apologize. Please excuse me. I'm so sorry that I said all those words to you. Now, why this change in behavior came? A flaw is a flaw. Yes, you have to distribute. They do give you water along with food. But an action which is done selflessly, even though there are flaws, they are ignored. And that humbleness and gratitude is expressed to such people who do actions in the spirit of yagna. In the spirit of yagna means there they have imbibed that feeling of seva. I am doing it for the sake of the Lord. So any action done with this intention of selflessness is always pardonable, even though there are mistakes. But if it is done with a gain, then the world will treat you differently. See, you go to a restaurant and you see there is a small stain on the plate. Because you are paying a hefty price, you call the waiter and yell at him and say, "Look at this plate. Is this the way you serve food?" You command and you shout at him. Any small thing, a small hair in a food, you call him and you say, "Take it back." If it is at home, you remove that hair and you start eating, or you say, "Please serve me again," but you don't shout. So it is what attitude you have in your mind. So if you work with this attitude of selfless service, even your life will be peaceful, although you make mistakes. So same way law of karma too operates. I am connecting this now. Yagnaya charata karma samagram praviliyate. The 23rd verse. What did it say? Any action done in the spirit of karma, that selflessness, that even though there is a flaw in it, it gets dissolved entirely. So when you do an action with the right intention, even if it is a bad karma, it does not stick to you. This is what we learn from this particular shloka. So now we come to verse 25. We have very little time. I'll just we'll read the shloka and understand the meaning, and whatever we can we'll understand today. We'll not rush through any which case. Let me post the shloka. Verse 25. श्रीभगवानुवाच दैवमेवापरे यज्ञम् योगिनः पर्युपासते ब्रह्माग्नवपरे यज्ञम् यज्ञेनैवोपजुह्वति. Now, the straight meaning, these yogis, the spiritual seekers, they offer sacrifice by way of a sacrifice in the form of fire to devatas, and also some offer to Brahman. So what are these now? So now you have, on one side we have the devatas, and on the other side we have the Brahman. So these are the two kinds of practices here we have in the spiritual. First, the yagnas done by the lesser realized, who, what they have in mind, you go, you let them perform a pooja, let them perform an archana or a yagna, anything and everything. They want material favors, material rewards. And the second one is Brahmagnav apare yajnam yagnena eva upajuhvati. Meaning, here, that offering which is made in the fire, in form of any action, it is for the Supreme Lord. Now, here, we should not forget that in verse 24, what is being offered was our individual self. If you go back to verse 24, you have offered everything to the Lord, meaning you are no more there. But you mean to say, what, I have to go and jump into the fire? No, that is not what is meant here. It is that individual self, that ahankara, that limited self of what you have as jiva, is offered to the unlimited self, which is that Paramatma, Brahman consciousness. So the jiva is offered into Brahman. What does that mean? Offering that limited self, alpagnya, into the unlimited self, that is the Paramatma. Offering that jiva into Brahman, Atman into Brahman. What is this offering? It is nothing other than the self-realization. What is the meaning of this? Realizing that I am not the limited self. I am not this jiva. How did this jiva came? Now we know very clearly. That ahankara which is there in me, it got associated with that chitchaya, chidabhasa, reflection. So I have now snapped that ahankara from this. It was very natural. You bring anything in front of a mirror, it gets reflected in the mirror. As far as the mirror is there and the object is there, that reflection will be there. But now by knowledge, although I see the reflection, I know that it is only a reflection, and that is not true. What is true? The person standing in front of the mirror is true. What is there in the mirror is just a reflection. So what we see, that ahankara in us, is a reflection. It is not true. It is an illusion. That's the reason they say again and again the jiva is an illusion. Know that this reflection in you, this I in you, is nothing but a reflection. Remove that reflection and know that this mind is a mirror, and the person standing in front of the mirror is that true self, which means that consciousness is the true self. I am actually the unlimited self. I am not a body or a mind in a body, nor I am the senses in the body. This whole body-mind complex, it has got nothing to do with me. I am that infinite existence, consciousness, bliss. Mano buddhi ahankara chitta ninaham. This is what is being told over here. We are under delusion. So the Lord says, understand this. That's the highest and that's the ultimate truth what one can have. And this is the privilege of the rarest of the rare, who get this knowledge. Now the Lord says, Lord Krishna says, I'm going to give you a series of spiritual practices, each of which will be presented to you in the form of a yagya, as a ritual. And at the end of it, he will say, actually the one I mentioned, which is the highest, is the Brahma Arpanam Brahma. We bear that in mind. That is the goal, and each and every yagya, what I'm going to now explain to you, is nothing but a means to that goal. So Daivame Vapare Yajnam Yogina Paryupasate Brahmagna Vapare Yajnam Yagnenai Upajuhvati. So Daivame Vapare Yajnam. So now the other kind of yagna here, this says you are doing rituals in this Vedic ritual fire. Understand that everything is Brahman over here. That the rituals which we do on a daily basis, we do it for two reasons. If you carefully understand, one is for a worldly reason. What is that worldly reason? I want success. I want a promotion. I want a bigger contract. I want to get money. I want health. I want, say you're married, you're not getting children, I want children. If you're not married, I want to get married. If you're studying, I want to get a seat in the top 5 or 10 universities of the world. If you're contesting for election, I want to win elections. If you're in a relationship problem, married, and your married life is shaky, you say, I want stability in my marriage. So these are all worldly problems. Now the other worldly reason, second one, he says, I want to go to heaven after death. Now this is also worldly thing. So Vishaya, objects which are desire. So in some form or the other, some desire is fulfilled, that is sakama, which we already discussed. Now Krishna is not teaching that kind of, he's not talking of such seekers, he's talking of seekers like us. So what should we perform? We don't want anything from the world and from the Vedic gods. Two kinds. I don't want anything. So you perform it without any desire. What desire? Worldly desire or outer worldly desires. No, I don't want that. I just want the purification of my mind. Meaning, Chitta Shuddhi, Chitta Ekagrata. As you want the basic fundamentals of Vedanta, what they are? Viveka, Vairagya, Shama, Dama, Adi, Shat Sampatti, Mumukshutvam. This fourfold qualification of Vedanta, they come as a result of purification. Today, which we all are having, maybe the proportion is different in each of us, but because of that we are here incessantly. Whatever date and time we decide, we all meet up with. That is the highest priority in our life. Whatever be our situation, we ensure that we do a decent amount of jap during the day. This kind of a sadhana. Now you will see, when all the other 12th yagna we already know, Brahmarpanam. The other 11 yagnas, as you see, you can evaluate yourself. Lord Krishna says you don't have to do all the 11. 12 is the goal, 11 are the yagnas. But even 12th is also considered a yagna, finally, the goal. In this 11 you do one or many or all. Now it is up to us. Now when you see what we are doing, you will find how great, what a great soul. Now don't say what a great soul I am. What a great soul this is. Who is this? This body and mind. How it has got stuck? Because of the reflection. Snap the reflection. Know that the person standing in front of the mirror is true and not the person in the mirror. So far we have considered ourselves, who is the person in the mirror, as a true person. Nonsense. The mirror is also false and the person in the mirror is also false. Because one day the mirror will break and that reflection won't be there. But the person standing in front of the mirror, whether the mirror is there or it is broken, he is there. If the mirror is also not there, the person is there. So you are that. So this, ask for that fourfold qualification. Daiva me vapare yagna. You perform every ritual for purification of the mind and offer it back to the Lord. Perform action, offer it back to the Lord. Krishna Arpanamastu Idam Namama Om Tat Sat. I didn't finish, I'm just telling. Offer it back. We are doing that. Every action you do, we say Krishna Arpanamastu. So, a great seeker, a Vedantin, what he will always focus is the Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana and Sadhana Chatushtaya. Oh Lord, give me that Shama, Dama, Viveka, Vairagya, Shama, Damadi, Shat Sampatti and Mumukshutva. And after having got that, give me Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. That's it. The journey is over here. Once I get that Jnana, that Brahma Jnana, I am sorted for life. This is what we need to understand. I'll talk about this briefly in the next class, verse 25, and then we will go to verse 26. Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Idam Namama Om Tat Sat. Come now, let's read the divine names. Today we have verse 25, the last name, Pratishtitaha, and verse 36, Skanda. So, verse 35. Let's read the verse. Achyuta pratitha pranaha pranado vasavanujaha apam nidradhishthanam apramatta pratishtitaha. Pratishtita. 326. Everything in the world depends upon something else to serve as its cause. Since all things that we perceive and experience in the world are all effects, they have their own causes, and the effects must necessarily depend upon the cause for their very existence. You can take the example of the mirror and the reflection here. What is the cause? The person standing in front of the mirror. What is the effect? The image, the reflection is the effect. So for every effect, reflection, there must be a cause, which is the person in front of the mirror. So the Supreme Lord is the one uncaused cause with reference to whom everything is only an effect. Since he is thus the ultimate cause, he is not depending upon anything other than himself. This self-established reality is indicated by the term Pratishtitaha, who is that constant, dominant cause in each and every effect which we see in this entire universe. Now the next stanza 36. Skandha skandadaro duryo varado vayu vahanaha Vasudevo brihad bhanuradideva purandaraha. 327. Skandaha. This is one of the names of the youngest son of Lord Shiva, Subramanya, who is described in the Purana as commander-in-chief of the righteous army. Righteous army means who are fighting on behalf of Dharma, that is the Devatas. Therefore, Skanda means the Lord whose glory is expressed through Subramanya. In order to realize the self, it is a prerequisite condition that the different personality layers in the seeker should be completely integrated. Now, how do you relate this to this name? Now, our fight or our journey of spirituality is we are a righteous army fighting to reach the Lord. So there are different personality layers in our mind. Now all that has to be fought. Without fighting, without winning over them, you will not be able to realize the self, meaning the Lord. So this Kandaha, so here we need to seek the Lord of this, the grace of this commander in chief, the Lord himself, to help us win over the battle over such vices in life. To such a divine Lord, Pratishtitaha and Skandaha, we offer our humble most salutations. Now let's read the Dhanvantari mantra 3 times. Without good health, we are nowhere. See, you know what happens when we are at the peak of our health, which is when we are young. That time, the force and pressure to enjoy the sensual pleasures is at the peak again. So the peak energy what we have got, we spent it for the peak sensual enjoyment. After a while, when we get old, we have got all the bearings of life, the hammerings of life, we realize. But by that time, that energy has gone down. Because you have to reaching the, now as you saw over here, it is a great war. For this you need enormous energy. Probably when we were young, when we are in our 20s, 30s, 40s, you are young. You have that natural force in you. You are able to fight. If you get the grace of the Lord in that age, that is superb grace. But when you are old, you have got it. It is still not late. We have to then have the right practices of health and regain your vigor, health, and move forward. Oh Lord, give me that health. So that's the reason we pray again and again. I've already crossed my borderline. I'm getting weak day by day. Oh Lord, give me that strength to fight and win the battle of the unrighteousness, the Maya Shakti. ॐ नमो भगवते महासुदर्शनाय वासुदेवाय धन्वन्तरये अमृतकलशहस्ताय सर्वभयविनाशाय सर्वरोगनिवारणाय त्रैलोक्यपतये त्रैलोक्यनिधये श्रीमहाविष्णुस्वरूप श्रीधन्वन्तरी स्वरूप श्री 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 औषधचक्र नारायणाय स्वाहा। ॐ नमो भगवते महासुदर्शनाय वासुदेवाय धन्वन्तरये अमृतकलशहस्ताय सर्वभयविनाशाय सर्वरोगनिवारणाय त्रैलोक्यपतये त्रैलोक्यनिधये श्रीमहाविष्णुस्वरूप श्रीधन्वन्तरी स्वरूप श्री 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 औषधचक्र नारायणाय स्वाहा। ॐ नमो भगवते महासुदर्शनाय वासुदेवाय धन्वन्तरये अमृतकलशहस्ताय सर्वभयविनाशाय सर्वरोगनिवारणाय त्रैलोक्यपतये त्रैलोक्यनिधये श्रीमहाविष्णुस्वरूप श्रीधन्वन्तरी स्वरूप श्री 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 औषधचक्र नारायणाय Swaha. To the Lord of Health, Lord Dhanvantari, we offer our humble salutations. Now we do the Sakshatkara Siddhi Yoga Dhyana. Please relax your body with constant sitting. You may have some uneasiness in your body here and there. If need be, take a few steps back and forth. Sit down comfortably. Head, neck, and spine in a straight line. Breathe in and breathe out as deep as you can. Now practicing the Sakshi Bhava is an extremely important exercise, eventually which will take us to the ultimate step. Now let's focus on our breath. Observe the inhalation and exhalation of your breath. Nothing else. This inhalation and exhalation is happening without your choice. If you say stop, it will not. If you say go on, it will not. It will just go in and out at its own pace. That's exactly what happens to you, or we should practice in our daily walk of life. Our life is nothing but like our breath. As you have no control on your breath, same is the case. We do not have control over our thoughts. A thought manifests in our mind. A desire is invoked. Mind finds the means. Organs of action and sense organs execute the thought and bring it into action. Be an observer of this entire process and keep telling the Lord, I am just an observer. I am desiring nothing. I am doing nothing. Just as a thought comes in your mind unabated, uninvited, Same way, a person comes in your life, somebody introduces you to somebody, and there you see that body giving you a share of misery and joy. Here too, say, "Oh Lord, this person came in my life. You are the one who have sent him. I am an observer. I accept all the good and bad, which is the outcome of the result of this person's presence in my life. Maybe for a few hours, a day, a week, a month, a year, a decade, or the whole life." Now slowly focus on the thoughts in your mind. Without being judgmental, observe the thoughts passing by. Slowly come back to observing your breath, prana vikshana. Become aware of yourself. your surroundings. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. Rub your palm, place them on your eyes. Slowly and gently open your eyes. Together, we offer today's Gita Gnana Yagna at the lotus feet of the Lord to seek His grace, mercy, and blessings. Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Naham Karta Hari Karta Idam Namma. Om Tat Sat.